And the heat wave continues. Today is a WRAL weather alert day. Heat advisory in effect for this afternoon. I'll show you how hot it will feel for the next several days.
It's a new geyser, but a same location. Crews return to the Village District for a second day to repair the same water main break. What's being done to prevent another geyser?
Test of power. GOP lawmakers take on vetoes by Governor Josh Stein. What's needed to override his decision?
And tower shooting. Police identify a second victim of the shooting at a New York City high-rise. How she is being remembered. The heat wave continues today with the WRAL Weather Alert Day once again. Good afternoon to you on this Tuesday. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at how many more days we will see dangerous heat.
This afternoon and tomorrow, already we have heat advisories that are in place. And watching Thursday, it's possible that the Weather Service would issue one for Thursday. But once we get past Thursday, we should begin to see a break. But this afternoon, it'll feel like 102 to 108 at the peak of the heat during the afternoon, which is going to be between 3 and 5 o'clock. Right now, the heat index is 97 in Durham and Raleigh. It's 99 in South Hill, 102 in Fayetteville, 100 in Southern Pines and Rocky Mount, and 104 in Goldsboro. And it's considerably hotter than the actual temperature. In a lot of places, it's actually 89 in Southern Pines, 90 in Fayetteville, 91 in Rocky Mount. So it's just because of the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. It's very humid out there, and that means that our bodies just can't cool themselves like they would if it was a drier air mass. Right now, it's 90 degrees. Our dew point is 71. That's a measure of moisture in the atmosphere. You can see clouds starting to build here over downtown Durham, and there is a chance of some afternoon and evening thunderstorms. Our heat index will feel like 105 by 2 o'clock this afternoon and around 107 at 5 o'clock. So it's another one of those days that you just need to be especially careful, especially if you're one of those people who has to work outside. Our high temperature in the mid 90s. And then again, this afternoon, we'll have that potential for some showers and thunderstorms that could linger into the evening. I'll walk you through the timeline for that coming up in just a bit.
You can track the temperatures with the newly redesigned WRAL weather app. It is free to download from your phone's app store. Make sure to turn on push notifications so you can get important weather alerts sent right to your home screen.
Breaking news this noon as crews returned to the Village District today to fix a second water main break that sent water shooting high up into the air. Sky 5 flew over that scene just before the water company was able to shut off the flow. WRAL's Flynn Snyder is live in the Village District right now. The issues have not yet affected local businesses there. I guess that's the only good news coming out of this, Flynn.
Yeah, Jeff, the city of Raleigh says that water service to nearby customers and the many businesses here in the Village District will not be impacted, but the break is forcing crews to once again close Cameron Street between Daniels and Woodburn Streets. This is the second break here since yesterday, the latest one happening this morning. Sky 5 captured water shooting out from underneath the street, almost looking like a geyser earlier here. Raleigh's water director tells me crews arrived this morning to pave the patch from yesterday's break when they noticed water flowing down the street again this morning. How does a second main break happen? Is that common? Is that something we see typically?
I won't say it's common, but it does happen. And that's largely because this is a 1948 vintage water line. So it's at the end of its service life. It's cast iron material. It's brittle. And so once they start to crack and have holes like this, oftentimes it's just going to continue to happen intermittently.
Raleigh water officials tell me crews already this morning have found other potential weak spots on the line that will also need to be replaced. This morning's break happened on the same line as yesterday's break, just 10 feet away from that break yesterday. Repairs to the break yesterday here on Cameron Street forced this main road here in the Village District to be closed until the early evening hours. Repairs for today are also on the same timeline, with this road expected to reopen around 5 o'clock this evening. Flynn Snyder, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Now to the deadly shooting at a New York high-rise. President Trump posted a message on Truth Social that reads in part, "My heart is with the families of the 4 people who were killed, including the NYPD officer." We're also learning more about the shooter. Investigators say Shane Tamura had a work card issued by the Nevada Private Investigators Licensing Board. However, the card did not authorize him to carry a firearm in his work capacity. Flags are flying at Hestath in New York in honor of the victims. And Governor Kathy Hochul is calling for Congress to pass a national assault weapons ban after yesterday's mass shooting at that Manhattan office building. Hochul noted the shooter used an AR-15 style assault rifle, a commonly used weapon in mass shootings in our country. Michelle McConaughey is in the WRAL Live Center with additional information in the investigation. Michelle.
Yeah, new information keeps coming out by the minute here, but this is what we know so far. Officials say the gunman acted alone and has a documented mental health history. Mayor Eric Adams said an additional weapon was also found inside a car that was found next to the scene. That Blackstone building, New York's headquarters there, is closed today. Also, two officials said the suspect left a note in which he wondered if CTE was a possible cause of his mental illness. Also, this afternoon, Senator Chuck Schumer posting this to X, saying, "I came to the Senate floor today as a New Yorker, a kid from Brooklyn. Our city was shattered when a gunman in cold blood took the lives of 4 innocent New Yorkers, including an officer. It is a rupture in the soul of our beloved city, and we mourn and honor those lost." A motive has not been disclosed yet.
The dust is settling on Jones Street at this hour after state lawmakers overrode a string of Governor Josh Stein's vetoes. House Republicans were able to get enough help from Democrats to accomplish most of what they wanted to do. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie is live at the Legislative Building for us this noon. Laura.
The state lawmakers set a veto override record today with 8 vetoed bills being enacted into new law. The previous one-day record was 6 overrides. And they did have help from various Democratic state lawmakers here in the state house. The issues that were overridden deal with everything from guns, electric bills, to guns in schools, to defining gender and cracking down on illegal immigration. The highest profile bill that was overridden this morning exempts Duke Energy from carbon reduction goals that utility agreed to meet several years ago. It also allows the utility to start charging consumers now for power plants it plans to build later. Supporters say that will keep costs for electricity lower, but the governor vetoed it, saying it ignores climate change and will transfer more of the cost of power onto consumers instead of businesses. It was quickly overridden in both chambers.
The Power Bill Reduction Act is about one thing: saving all consumers and ratepayers money on their electric bills from what otherwise they would pay without this bill.
Our planet is on fire. Look at the flooding we had in Chapel Hill 2 weeks ago, $50 million worth of damage in a simple rain event. Look at Helene. Look what happened in Texas. All of our hurricanes, 1,000-year events happening every year. We have got to reduce our dependence on carbon.
Other bills that were enacted today include, quite a few obviously, private schools can now allow adults to carry guns in classrooms in those schools. Law enforcement must check the immigration status for more criminal charges against people that they pick up and whose immigration status they can't confirm. Gender is now going to be defined under state law by biological organs. And we have a full breakdown of all the other new laws, as well as a few of them that were not overturned today on WRAL.com. And of course, a much fuller story for you coming up this evening on WRAL. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Democrat Wiley Nickel has suspended his campaign for North Carolina's open U.S. Senate seat and endorsed former Governor Roy Cooper. A statement from the former congressman reads in part, "It was an honor to work alongside Governor Cooper in the state Senate and in Congress. I've seen firsthand his steady bipartisan leadership. I proudly endorse Governor Cooper for U.S. Senate, and I look forward to doing everything I can to help him flip this Senate seat from red to blue." People familiar with Nickel's plans told WRAL on Friday he is now exploring a candidacy for the Wake County District Attorney's seat, being vacated by Democrat Lauren Freeman. Freeman announced in May she won't seek re-election in 2026.
We are more than 460 days away from the 2026 general election. At least one of our state's races is already heating up. Former North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper launched his campaign for U.S. Senate. Cooper seeking the seat Republican Senator Thom Tillis is vacating. Now, in his first interview since his announcement, Cooper talked with MSNBC's Rachel Maddow. They discussed his platform and what he wants to accomplish.
There are so many bad things coming out of Washington that hurt the middle class and hurt people who are trying and dreaming of being in the middle class, seeing the health care stripped away from them, seeing tax breaks for the wealthy and a pittance for them.
GOP leaders in our state criticized Cooper. NC GOP spokesperson Matt Mercer called him an elitist. Republicans are looking at Republican National Committee Chairman Michael Whatley as a candidate for this crucial race. He received an endorsement from President Trump, but has not formally announced his bid. Check out WRAL.com or the WRAL News app for in-depth reporting on this U.S. Senate race. Our NC Capitol team has extensive coverage of it.
A pedestrian hit by an SUV on New Bern Avenue early this morning has died. The driver is charged with DWI. This happened around 1:15 near King William Road and Donald Ross Drive. Video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker shows the smashed front of that SUV as well as the shattered windshield. Police say Alonzo Hinton was crossing the street when he was hit by that vehicle. Hinton was taken to the hospital where he died. The driver is Antonio Dickens. He's charged with DWI. Durham police are investigating a stabbing. Sky 5 flew over the intersection of Irwin Road and Douglas Street this morning, where there was a heavy police presence. Officers say a man walked into a hospital suffering from a non-life-threatening wound. No word on a motive or suspect.
And back here in the WRAL Live Center, JetBlue and United are ready for takeoff. The U.S. Department of Transportation has officially cleared the partnership between the two airlines. The airlines announced their partnership in May. They're calling it Blue Sky, and it'll allow the travelers to book flights on both carriers' websites while earning frequent flyer points as well. JetBlue and United said that Blue Sky will officially take flight this fall.
And speaking of mergers, another one between two of the largest U.S. railroads could create the nation's first transcontinental freight railroad. Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern announced a $72 billion deal today. Trains transport autos, retail goods, food and energy products, as well as raw materials and parts needed to run America's factories. The deal still needs regulatory approval and will serve as a major test for the Trump administration's antitrust regulators. Just one day before the Federal Reserve makes a key decision on interest rates, investors are feeling a little unsettled. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down 200 points. It started out kind of flatline. Not a whole lot of major movement on the S&P 500, down just a few points, and the NASDAQ down 40 points at this hour.
Still ahead this noon, locked in a hot car, what an Arizona dad was doing when he left 4 kids to swelter in 100-degree temperatures.
Also tackling the heat, how to make sure athletes are staying safe as fall sports practices begin.
Plus, HVAC pros handle these hot times, how the experts can help keep you cool.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
The U.S. State Department plans to destroy nearly $10 million worth of contraceptives meant for women in low-income countries. The taxpayer-funded contraceptives have been stored in a Belgium warehouse since the Trump administration dismantled USAID and froze foreign aid. The products, including pills, IUDs, and implants, will expire between the years 2027 to 2031. The State Department confirms the U.S. will spend $167,000 to destroy the contraceptives. Security changes are in the works at the Minnesota State Capitol after a naked man was caught inside the building in the middle of the night. Now, outside the House chamber, the tribute to the late Representative Melissa Hortman still frames the doorways. Just down the hall is the Senate chamber, where a naked man was found Friday night. He was taken to the hospital for observation before being released and then returning twice to the Capitol on Saturday. The third time, he was finally taken to jail. No one was hurt, and a motive is unknown at this time.
An Arizona man faces 8 felonies after police say he left 4 children inside a hot car in triple-digit heat. Police body cam video shows the moment officers found those 4 children, all under the age of 10. When officers got there, they found 3 inside the hot car with the windows rolled up and the car shut off. One of the children was outside the car All were in distress. Police say when their father approached the vehicle, he denied being their guardian. And then, get this, he had them locked in the car while he spent nearly an hour in an adult shop.
They're inside of a car for upwards of an hour, which I can't even imagine what they, time-wise, felt it to be. Really hot, and then you're also now seeing officers put your dad in custody. I mean, that's the trauma associated with that is just profound.
Well, miraculously, all of the children are physically okay. The judge ordered him to stay away from his children if he posts bail. The children are in the care of their mother, who was at work when all this happened.
Heat advisories are expected to last until at least tomorrow in our viewing area. Local high school students are starting outdoor practice as we experience dangerous heat. WRAL's Ellie Calabar explains what school leadership is doing to ensure student athletes are safe.
Yes, players behind me, they are tackling a new football season, but they are also tackling the heat. They're in a water break right now. And to keep students safe, an athletic trainer is constantly watching this. This is the wet bulb globe thermometer. Once we're in practice, like full-on practice, so starting tomorrow, those codes can dictate what the athletes can wear outside. This morning, student athletes got up early before the intense heat kicked in. Wake County Public Schools says in the summer months, students don't practice between 10 and 5. During outside practice, they take frequent breaks. They always have access to water. An athletic trainer is constantly on the field. They follow the state's athletic association's guidelines. The director of health with the Athletic Association says it's important for parents to check on their school's procedures.
Parents should be asking whether it's the school or whether it's the youth sports organization, show me your heat activity guidelines. What are you using to measure the wet bulb globe temperature?
The state's athletic association also advises parents to check on the emergency action plan, especially for heat-related illnesses. Reporting in Wake County, Allie Calabar, WRAL News.
And not to be messed with, even in the noon hour right now. That's why those kids get out there and try to get it in early on with these fall practices. Elizabeth Gardner over in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Even that, you can't get up early enough to do it because we're just not getting cool enough.
Exactly. Not getting cool enough, and we're not getting dry enough. It's so humid. You know, even first thing in the morning, our dew point right now is in the mid-70s. I mean, it's just, it's tough. But we do have a break on the way. By Friday, it's going to feel much more comfortable and much safer for kids to be out. Now, we could easily see, you know, 1 or 2 more heat waves before we get into September, and we tend to see the end of it. You know, we still have all of August to go. We take a look at downtown Raleigh. Nice breeze here through downtown. People out walking around. It is very hot and humid, but so imagine they're probably not spending too much time out there. 90 degrees right now with a dew point of 71. So the dew point has fallen a little bit since this morning. The highest it got this morning at around 8 or 9 o'clock was about 75. So starting to dry out a little bit, but there's still a huge difference in the temperature and the way it feels because of that dew point in the 70s. So it feels like 104 in Goldsboro where it's actually 90. It's 91 in Rocky Mount, but feels like 100. It's 90 in Fayetteville, but feels like 102. It feels like 99 in Roxboro and South Hill. So no matter where you look, the temperature feels about 10 degrees hotter than it actually is. So that's why we have a heat advisory in effect for this afternoon and another one again tomorrow. Heat index 102 to 108 both days. We'll be watching Thursday. Thursday also looks like it could be on the hot side. I'll show you what the heat index looks like for Thursday, and we'll see the Weather Service may issue one of those heat advisories again for Thursday as well. Our heat index peaks in the next few hours between 102 and 108 for most of central North Carolina. Around town, actual high 96 for Durham, Raleigh, and Fayetteville, and 90s are actual normal high temperature. So it's not so much the temperature, it's just the amount of moisture in the atmosphere that makes it feel so hot. So feeling like 105 at 2 o'clock, feeling like 107 around 4 to 5 o'clock this afternoon. Tomorrow, 105, and then Thursday, you can see our forecast is for 105 for the heat index as well, and that puts it right at that heat advisory criteria. So we'll see what happens. By Friday and Saturday, we are well below the criteria, which is great. But boy, we've had quite a heat wave. Our temperature here, this is a look at the heat index temperature starting Friday at 102. Saturday, it was 103, then 108, 102, and 100. Of course, we may be a little higher than that 100 this afternoon, and we could see 100 plus again again for Wednesday and Thursday. So that's almost 7 days in a row with a heat index at 100 plus. So far for July, we've already seen 18 days with that heat index at 100 or hotter. So it has been a very hot July. Not a whole lot of rain coming along either to help cool things down. This is a look at Futurecast as we take it through the afternoon and evening. We have a better chance just to our west of seeing showers and thunderstorms, but it's not a zero chance for us. We do have plenty of moisture in the atmosphere, lots of humidity. You can see that backs off slightly Wednesday, but ahead of a front that comes in by the end of the week, it really bumps up. That cold front that comes through Thursday could bring us some severe storms. It could also help to cool things down. So our high on Friday is 87, and then Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, we're down into the low 80s. And I think a lot of folks will be looking forward to that. But we do have a significant amount of rain potential Thursday and Friday. I'll show you how much we could see coming up.
Elizabeth, thank you. $18 million lawsuit. That's what a local family is seeking after a deadly encounter involving a then Wake Forest University basketball coach. Today on WRAL News at 4, an update on the case that got national attention.
Calls for more transparency. One town is calling out lawmakers over a change in election rules that could impact how you vote. At 5:30, what they say needs to be done to make sure your vote counts. Plus, still ahead this noon, social media concerns. Studies show a link between social media use and depression in young people. A psychologist talks about the pros and cons of social media.
Skin cancer prevention. Skin cancer is less common in people with darker skin, but it can be more deadly. Next, why that is and the steps to take to prevent it. Many of us spend hours scrolling through social media daily, but have you ever thought of the impact on your mental health? Online groups allow us to find like-minded people who help us feel seen. For those who are geographically isolated, have a disability, or social anxiety, social platforms can be a lifeline to stay connected. It can also cause some to compare themselves to others, which can be dangerous because content is often polished and filtered.
It depends on the intent of the way you use social media. Studies have shown that it can decrease loneliness when you're using social media for its intended purpose, to follow other individuals in your life, to stay up to date, instead of using social media in lieu of in-person connection, validation, or seeking reward.
If too much scrolling gets you down, a digital detox may help. Step away from the screen for fresh air and sunshine to boost your mood so you can refocus.
A North Carolina school safety group says schools need to do a better job communicating quickly and accurately during lockdowns. North Carolina Advisory Council for Student Safety and Well-Being says that it has heard this feedback from school employees and others. The group has pushed for keeping cell phones out of students' hands during the school day, but students often use their phones during lockdowns.
If we're not going to have cell phones in kids' hands, how do we communicate to kids during a crisis to make sure that they feel safe?
And Chair William Lassiter says some apps may help schools get accurate information out more quickly. His group plans to make recommendations to Governor Josh Stein.
Still to come, taking a toll. This major heat wave is putting a strain on your AC and AC repair companies. How far crews are being stretched and how you can keep your air conditioning from needing repairs.
Plus, lightning strike destruction. A North Carolina family's home is unlivable now after a lightning strike came from a strong storm. Hear how they made it out alive next. And here are your winning NC Education lottery numbers on your screen. We'll be right back.
This afternoon, it could feel as hot as 108 degrees, and that's why today is a WRAL Weather Alert Day.
Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now with a look at how many more days we will be seeing dangerously hot conditions.
Most likely 3. We have today and tomorrow already have heat advisories in effect. We're looking at around the triangle around 106 to 107, both today and tomorrow. But looking ahead to Thursday, it's also looking pretty hot too. So Thursday may end up being a weather alert day with another heat advisory. Right now, it feels like 97 in Durham and Raleigh, but it feels like 102 in Fayetteville. The heat index is in the white box on the right and the actual temperature on the left. So it's 89 in Southern Pines, but feels like 100. It's 90 in Goldsboro, but feels like 104. Feels like 100 in Rocky Mount. So very hot out there. That's not keeping people from being outside, and it's okay to be outside. You just want to be smart about it. Make sure that you're taking breaks, getting in the shade, drinking lots of water. And you can see the kids, looks like there's a golf camp there at Longleaf Golf and Family Club, but I'm sure that they're being very careful. 90 degrees is our temperature, our dew point at 71, of course, making it feel very hot. Temperatures will feel like triple digits all the way up until around 8 p.m. We also have a small chance for thunderstorms later on today. I'll walk you through futurecasts coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. This intense heat we're experiencing is taking a toll on AC units. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey reports HVAC companies are doing a lot of service calls right now as this heat wave drags on.
We spoke with the owner of Any Day Heating and Cooling, Adrian Stevenson. He says his crews are working around the clock to fix broken ACs. Now, if you haven't received routine maintenance on your AC, there is a chance that your system could shut down in these dangerously high temperatures. Stevenson says their workload more than quadrupled over the weekend. He says most of these repairs happen because ACs can't keep up with this intense heat. If you're having problems with your AC, he recommends checking your filters before calling an HVAC company. Once you clean off your filters, wait 24 hours to see if that makes a difference. Stevenson explains the growing demand.
This weekend, between our team, we actually service about 50 homeowners over the weekend. Typical weekend is somewhere around 10. We're actually having extra staff to come in on the weekends to support the demand.
Stevenson says it's also common for the temperature in your house to go up during the hottest time of the day. So that's between 3 and 7 o'clock. If the temperature in your house goes up during that time period, that does not mean that your AC is broken. The temperature will likely adjust around sunset. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Wake County.
You know, this intense heat has headlined our weather for much of the past week. Meteorologist Chris Michaels shows us where this summer ranks across North Carolina and what's behind the high heat and humidity this year.
Obviously, summer here in North Carolina is hot and humid, but this time we've kind of taken it to another level, really across the state. According to the Southeast Regional Climate Center, Boone, Asheville, Charlotte, and Fayetteville, it's been the second hottest on record. For Raleigh, New Bern, and Wilmington, it's been the hottest on record. And I went back and looked at some of the heat alerts we've had issued. We've had 11 so far this summer, and through July, the average is 6. We've had 4 extreme heat warnings, and the average through July is 1. All right. A lot of this has to do with not just the daytime, but the nighttime as well. And you see that nighttime lows have steadily increased over the last several years. The past 5 years, the average nighttime low in the summer is 69 degrees. This summer, it's been 73 degrees. So we are tracking a little bit of a cold front that brings our temperatures into the 60s for the mornings this weekend. So that is going to feel a lot different than what we've gotten accustomed to so far this summer. But the reason for the warm nighttime lows and really the hottest summer on record so far is the fact that we've had this constant flow of tropical moisture. We'll show you when humidity levels dip and how long they stay low coming up in just a bit.
You can track the temperatures with the newly redesigned WRAL weather app. It is free to download from your phone's app store. Make sure to turn on push notifications so you can get important weather alerts sent right to your home screen.
Today, a memorial grows for the victims of the deadly shooting at a Manhattan office building as New York City police and FBI continue to investigate. The shooting suspect killed 4 people before turning the gun on himself. We're now learning more about a possible motive, and Michelle McConaughey is in the WRAL Live Center with additional information about this investigation. Michelle.
Yeah, Jeff, new information keeps coming out by the minute. Now we have learned that the New York Police Department is actually sending investigators to Las Vegas, and I'll tell you why. The gunman was employed at a Las Vegas casino. They say he worked at Caesars Horseshoe Center Strip, Las Vegas, as a surveillance department employee. So we are just learning about 20 minutes ago that the NYPD will be sending teams to Las Vegas. This afternoon, we are also learning the identity of one of the victims. Blackstone has confirmed one of its executives, Wesley LePatner, was among the 4 people who died. This is her. The investment firm said LePatner was, quote, a beloved member of the Blackstone family who was deeply respected.
Happening today, a new VA clinic is opening in Garner. The 240,000 square foot facility is on Benson Road. The Durham VA healthcare system will operate it. It will offer primary care, mental health services, and other specialty care options for veterans. Right now, a new disaster loan outreach center is open for Orange County businesses and residents affected by Tropical Depression Chantal. The center will have small business administration staff available to help you with completing your disaster loan application. You can head over Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5 and Saturday as well from 10 to 2. The center is in multi-purpose room 152B at the Drakeford Library Complex on Greensboro Street in Carborough. The center is set to close Saturday, August 21st. Walk-ins are accepted, but you can also make an appointment on the Small Business Administration's website.
Skin cancer may not be as common on people with darker skin, but it can be even more deadly. The unexpected signs to watch for and some effective sunscreens that work with skin tone.
Renewed Purpose will explain how a Girl Scout came up with a way to use old railroad boxes to help people unpack their mental health.
Skin cancer is the most common form of cancer in the U.S., but for Black people, cancer signs can show up in unexpected places, and missing those signs can have serious consequences. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur shares how early detection can save lives.
Black Americans are 5 times more likely to die within 5 years of a melanoma diagnosis. The reason? Because it's often caught too late. So you need to be vigilant.
In Black patients, melanoma, the most deadly type of skin cancer, often appears on the palms, soles of feet, or under the nails, not on sun-exposed areas where people typically check.
Doctors suggest doing regular full-body skin checks, not forgetting your palms, feet, and under your nails. And don't forget sunscreen. Even if your skin is dark, dermatologists recommend using at least SPF 30. And we know that finding a sunscreen to work with a darker skin tone can be challenging. Here are 2 that Consumer Reports recommends: Black Girl Sunscreen Kids and Supergoop Play Every Day. Both are SPF 50. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
Cursive Comeback. A Midwest couple launches a special class to help children discover the loopy art of cursive handwriting. And Raise the Woof. A couple's love of positively cute canine-themed items earns them a place in the record books. You're looking live at beautiful Beaufort, but the coast will also be in the 90s today as well. You're watching WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. Children are learning an art form that is no longer taught in a lot of schools, even though some still see the need for it. Leanne Trotter introduces us to a couple in Northwest Indiana who have developed an academy to help young people learn how to write and how to read cursive handwriting.
Letter J, that letter J was tricky.
Twice a week, Terrell Whittington and his wife Chelsea come here to the YWCA Northwest Indiana to teach young students cursive writing.
There's this whole new generation of young people who have absolutely no idea what cursive is. And so he said, why don't we reintroduce that and see what we can do in our community.
All right, I like that. I like that enthusiasm, guys.
A few months ago, they decided to create a curriculum after discussing how many school districts are no longer teaching cursive writing. The YWCA was one of the first organizations that agreed to sponsor Cursive Academy.
I'm so happy about it and pleased because our kids need to be exposed to everything. We do not need to dummy down. We got to level up. So that cursive writing is leveling up.
I knew a little bit, I could read it a little bit, but this really actually taught me how to do cursive. I would say the first day it was a little bit hard learning it, but once you get it, I feel like you kind of just got it,
11-year-old Sanila Shields is already thinking about the long-term implications.
I want to be a publisher or author when I grow up, so I want to write my signature down so they can know it's me.
This course is free for these students because the Y is sponsoring classes for its members.
It's just wonderful to see how my husband came up with an idea and our community has rallied around us to get it done.
That was Leanne Trotter reporting. Cursive remains useful for reading historical documents and, of course, signing your name. It's just a lot easier to write, right? Some view it as a valuable skill for developing fine motor skills as well as cognitive function.
A family in Brunswick County is left without a home after lightning from a strong weekend storm hit it and destroyed it. Melissa Johnson says she and her husband were spending their Saturday night at home. And that's when the lightning struck, shaking their home to its foundation. They could smell smoke, and when they went upstairs, that's when they saw the flames. And in less than 5 minutes, the top of their home was engulfed. Now, days later, Johnson says almost everything is gone.
What we had was the clothes on our back, the shoes on our feet. Here and look up, you can see my son's room. You see the ceiling fan to my son's room. On my son's bedroom, he's lost everything.
Despite the destruction, the family says what matters most is that they got out of that home unhurt.
Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is tracking our intense heat here, and we do have some showers on the radar. Are they just passing through the viewing area?
They are, and they're going to probably continue to hang out. These are all going to be very slow moving. We don't have a cold front or anything moving through, but just in the last 15 minutes, these started to pop. Not surprising. The models really didn't have a good grasp of that, but there's so much moisture in the atmosphere. We're heating that up, causing everything to rise and then cool and form these potential thunderstorms. Notice way off to our south and east, a lot of lightning there, but also notice that these cells are not moving very fast. We did end up with some very heavy rain just southeast of the triangle area this morning because of these very slow moving systems. A lot of it is back to our west right now, closer to Salisbury or down around Rockingham County. But we'll zoom in and you can see here right there southwest of Wilson, one sort of between Clayton and Smithfield. That one keeps sort of popping up also around Goldsboro. So that's where they are now, but I would expect to see them in any part of the viewing area. And if one pops up over you, just be prepared. There could be some minor flooding with it because these are just not going to move fast and they've got a lot of moisture associated with them. This is what we saw early this morning. Southern Wake County at about an inch, and from Smithfield to just west of Goldsboro, it was 2 to almost 3 inches at least estimated by radar. So we could see some pockets of some heavy rain through the afternoon. Now, it's a 30% chance, and that means about 30% of the area could be covered with these cells. They're not going to be terribly widespread, but again, they could be impactful. 40% tomorrow, and then 60% Thursday and Friday as our cold front comes in. Thursday afternoon, we'll be watching for the chance of some severe storms with our front, of course, and the potential for some heavy rain continuing 2 to 2.5 inches in our southern counties, 1 inch to 1.5 inches in our northern counties, but pockets could produce some even heavier totals, especially Thursday and Friday. Here's a look at what's happening outside right now. We're seeing those towering cumulus clouds building in some places. They're in Fayetteville and Apex, Raleigh and Chapel Hill. Everything is fairly quiet right now, but again, more showers and storms developing through the afternoon. We continue with our heat wave too. Of course, we're going to see a heat index between 102 and 108 this afternoon. Our next weather maker helps to get rid of that. That cold front will drop in from the north. That's going to help to break up the heat wave. Our rain chances will be highest on Thursday and Friday. Right now, the Prediction Center is showing Friday as medium risk for some flooding. And then temperatures will start to fall with that front as well. Our normal high for today is 90, but we're looking at a good pocket here along the East Coast and the Southeast of below average temperatures, and that could mean the average low and the average highs around 70 degrees. So we're looking at heat continuing mid-90s today, tomorrow, and Thursday. Thursday may end up being a WRAL weather alert day with a heat advisory because it doesn't look that different than what we'll see the next several days. And then Friday and Saturday, things begin to change. We could still have a good chance for rain on Friday, and we'll see what the front does. If it sinks far enough south, we may not have as much rain Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, but that could still be a fairly wet period, but at least our temperatures will be much cooler.
Canine collection. A round of applause is in order for one man's tribute to hounds.
Just scratching the surface here. Heading to break, here's a look at last night's winning Powerball numbers on your screen.
More puns to come.
We wrap things up right now with a look at a few of the headlines we're following for you today as crews return to the Village District to fix a second water main break that sent this water shooting up into the air. Sky 5 flew over that scene just before the water company was able to shut off the flow. Water service will not be affected to nearby neighbors, customers, businesses. The break, though, is forcing crews to close Cameron Street between Daniel Street and Woodburn Road until around 5 tonight.
A man who was hit by an SUV on New Bern Avenue has died. The driver is charged with DWI. This happened around 1:15 in the morning near King William Road and Donald Ross Drive. And police say Alonzo Hinton was crossing the street when he was hit. He was taken to the hospital where he died. The driver, Antonio Dickens, is charged with DWI.
Today, state lawmakers overrode a string of Governor Josh Stein's vetoes. They set a veto override record, in fact, enacting 8 vetoed bills into law. They deal with issues from electric bills to guns in schools to defining gender and cracking down on illegal immigration. The highest profile bill allows Duke Energy to start charging customers more now for power plants that it plans to build later. We have a full breakdown of all the new laws at WRAL.com.
It's never too early to become a health advocate. An 18-year-old Girl Scout from Lincoln, Nebraska, created a project that offers free resources to the community. It is called Mindful Moments, and she uses old railroad boxes and fills them with resources for mental health, pregnancy, substance abuse, and more. The boxes are placed along a bridge between South Dakota and Nebraska. She chose that location after losing a friend with mental health struggles on the same bridge.
Feel ashamed if you need to take something, or if you need to just sit for a minute and, read through a pamphlet or read an inspirational card. Like, you shouldn't be ashamed of that. It's something that a lot of people deal with, and it's something that should be there to help you.
The creator received the Gold Award for her project, which is the highest achievement in Girl Scouts. Although she has aged out of the Scouts, she plans on becoming a counselor and one day hopes to expand the program across the country.
A sales manager from Barcelona wasn't really into real dogs, but you probably couldn't tell that from his collection of all things canine. Maria Gabarro started his collection in his 60s, and he bought everything from walking sticks, soft toys, figurines at markets, and stored the collection in 2 houses. When he died last year at age 94, his children wanted to pay tribute to him and both their parents, really, and see if they could claim a record. Sure enough, Gabarro now holds the Guinness World Record with 5,025 dog figurines.
Just wow. Look at this dog. Our pet of the day comes to us from the Wake County Animal Center. At 7 years young, Rowdy is a distinguished gentleman with the perfect mix of pep and chill. He's low maintenance, affectionate, and just wants to be your one and only. Rowdy is heartworm positive and is receiving help with treatment costs. Contact the Wake County Animal Center with Rowdy 257-754. NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
Get breaking news updates anytime with the WRAL app.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.